two guards atop the battlements. One of them is a very large man, and another is a sort of fairly average build. Looks slight next to the other guy. They both seem to be chatting over a brazier which is smoking. It has embers burning in it, and they sort of rub their hands together and hold it with a spear propped against their shoulder. They don't seem to. They seem very calm and casual, and they talk for a few minutes, and then they sort of turn around and walk along the walls, start walking away from one another. One walking towards the location you're trying to get to, and one the other way. There are houses that run across here, so there's a few houses sort of along the bottom edge of this wall and along the bottom edge of this wall. I'm just trying to think. I think the carpenters, the Balacore house is here, and then there's a couple more houses and a sort of bigger building in the corner, and that's actually the smithy. And there's a small forge just outside the smithy. That area is pretty noisy. The ringing of hammers is there pretty much all day, every day. Is there either repairing, like rehorsing shoes, reshoeing horses, making plows, making weapons, making armor, making like everything. And the smithy has probably there's the master blacksmith. There's 3 other blacksmiths who work there. They have 10 apprentices. So it's like literally the forge is, it's a smallish forge, but there's like 2 or 3 furnaces, all manned. There's an overseer. It's like, and it's all go all day, every day. Again, much like in the castles, like they do some rotation. Whereas the blacksmiths will swap out with one another, just because otherwise they'd just be, you can't raise and hit with a hammer all day, every day.
Okay, well that's pretty handy, because I think I'll head towards that stairwell there leading up towards the battlements that's right next to the smithy, so I have some sort of cover of noise as well.
Each house is painted as well. Your house is painted red, which is symbolic of, and it's sort of almost this guy. It's faded now, so it's and it's sort of a bit cracked. But each one is symbolic of the role that is played. So the red houses are those of people who are in the military or related to the military, sort of the soldiery and what have you. The green houses are related to carpentry. Yellow houses are related to sort of the general peasantry, like people who, just people who make up these.
Did you say green for?
Green for carpentry.
And the other was?
Yellow is just sort of general populace. So most of the general populace, they can't really afford anything, but the carpenters started off painting their houses green to signify that so people knew how to find them.
The districts, the areas.
Yeah,
so
the blacksmiths tend to have houses, like they use the soot and they smear it over their walls, so all the walls are stained a dark grey, blacky colour. And so each profession, like the bakers paint their walls much more sort of terracotta colour. Potters paint their walls brown. So like you can pretty much tell the trade by the colour of the building, because there aren't really any signs. The only thing that has a sign is the pub, which is the I think it's the Dancing Frog.
Did
Dancing
name
Frog
it?
Inn. Yeah, I did.
You did.
I did on the map.
You did. It's on the map. Cool.
It's on the map.
Cool. Dancing Frog.
It's the Dancing Frog Inn.
Don't think I wrote that down.
No, it's my fault, because I keep on doing stuff. I do extracurricular stuff. Where if I'm doing something, I just make it up as I go along. You know how it works.
Oh yeah.
It's the Dancing Frog Inn. Again, pertaining to the wealth of the region. You head up towards the flight of stairs which lead you up. How long are you taking to get there? I'm just trying to think. It's probably 2 or 3 minutes walk if you take a brisk pace, or 5 minutes if you dawdle.
Well,
make a guess, a perception check about Pud.
6.
Can't really tell how long it's going to take him to walk there. You look at the pace he's walking, and are you going to match it, or are you going to go slower?
Well, I don't want to draw attention to myself, so I'm not going to move at any specific pace. I'm just going to casually match his pace, just keeping an eye on him. So when he starts, I would like to be try and aim for the foot of the stairs when he starts making his way back towards the brazier, so I know that he's back.
When he's past the stairs, because as far as you can tell, you start walking. So you start walking sort of. And he gets to about here and he carries on past the stairwell that you will go up. At this point, there are a few more buildings in around here. The main sort of village square is here.
Okay.
It does have a well in the middle and a green. Because in the middle, the green in the middle of summer, often people's animals will just be let out on it, and they'll be allowed to graze there. But because it's heading towards winter, there's no real grazing there. Hence the herders are going around, and they literally go straight to people's houses. Everybody knows who all the herders are. They're the sort of the general civilian kind of population, really. And some of them, they'll just go into people's houses, take the animals which need to be taken out to graze, and they'll take them out to graze for the day. And there's a lot of pastures in the hills just around you, because it's quite steep hills before it turns into the pasture, the farmland, which is within sight if you're up on the battlements, looking
east, west,
south and west.
Okay, that's all good to know. I think Libby will stop and think, well, what do people expect to see of me? And then if I give them what they expect to see of me, then I won't look out of place. So what I'm going to do is just casually walk up the stairs, right to the top, and go, Pud! Good morrow!
Okay, so you just casually walk up the steps.
Yeah.
By the time you get to the steps... Okay. By the time you get up the steps, you just walk through the village, you sort of see people and wave, say hello, and sort of everybody's bustling around, really busy. And you come around the corner, you go up the stairs, and you see Pud's walking towards you by this point. You're like, Pud, hello!
Pud, hello, good morrow!
Hello, young Libby. Hang on a second, I'll be there in a moment. And he sort of casually carries on walking towards you. He's got a spear sort of shouldered.
I whip out the practice sword and I say, care to give me a challenge to start my day of practice off with, Pud?
Charisma check.
Oh, fuck. 6.
He just says, I think you're a bit too small for me, Libby, and his voice is booming out at the moment because he's sort of shouting to you as he comes towards you.
Father always told me that the bigger they are, the bigger they fall.
Okay, go for it.
Charisma, yeah?
Yeah.
17.
He's like, well, I don't think that's true. And he's still got his spear shouldered.
Well, I take a stance and I say, well, there's only one way to prove that, isn't there?
Okay, he's about 30 feet away from you now, so just one move or what have you, and he's speaking a lot less. And he's like, what do you mean?
Well,
what do you mean?
Well, there's only one way to find out if you're too big for me, isn't it?
So you're just going to go for him?
And I'm going to jab him in the belly.
So you're going to move forward and attack?
And I'm just going to go, isn't there, eh? And sort of go for a little jab in the belly.
Make your attack. I'm going to make a dexterity
Okay.
reflex save.
What is her attack and everything?
It's all down on her. It should be on this.
Yes.
It's also +3.
+3, thank you. 15.
Okay, you just go to him and you go to punch him in the belly, and like with unexpected dexterity and swiftness, he just sort of flips the spear up, parries you, and then flips the spear around so that the blunt end is facing towards you, but at the ready.
Wow.
I mean, he's a trained soldier.
Yeah,
So he's just been like, like ready.
I go, wow. Can you teach me that, please?
Make a charisma check.
Oh, crit fail.
I did not crit fail. He's like, he sort of ruffles you on the head. He's like, oh there, Libby, I'm a professional soldier. Unless you intend to become a professional soldier, but that's not really. You could do so much better than being a professional soldier.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, you're a fine young lady. You could find a wonderful gentleman, I'm sure.
That. Yes, well, maybe sometime in the future. I'm not very interested. And I go, well, I'm off to practice, and yeah, if you see father, do let him know where I am. Bye.
Charisma check.
6. She's rolling really bad today, man.
So am I. He sort of looks at you shiftily.
Oh, fuck.
And then he's like, alright, I'll tell him what you said. And
it's just that I know father worries a lot, and but I'm just, okay, bye.
And he's like, okay, so like, and he's like, you alright, you be on your way, I best keep an eye. And he just starts wandering back along. He just keeps an eye looking out over the battlements. There is a clear area around the castle. There's about half a mile between the castle and the forest proper. In fact, they purposefully log parts of the forest to keep it at bay, to make sure that there is a clear area around it. But as far as it goes, it's sort of the castle. Maybe it drops away, there's a hill, then it starts going up, and then it turns into mountainside, and that's forest. And the reason it's sort of backed up against the mountains, I mean, no one's coming from that direction. No one has ever attacked from that direction. But it's kept clear because the lords are not stupid. No, they're not lazy, more to the point.
Well, I suppose,
Lord Strater is Strater. Yeah. Lord, you said Strider, I think.
I think I said
Lord Strider is an honest, decent man who really does try to do the best by his people. A lot gets said bad about the lords, and the lords have to dress pretty, and the lords get the best conditions. But also, in the case of somebody like Lord Strider, he also does everything in his power to make sure that his people are given the best possible chances that they can get. And so everybody is well looked after. It's like Libby knows that ultimately firewood will be shared with them over the winter if it comes to it, but she also understands the pressures on the castle in order to maintain the stocks, in order to keep the castle as a whole running, because the Lord Strider's pretty open about, or as far as everybody's aware anyway, he's pretty open about what is actually available. Most people, Libby can wander in and out of the stores. Not very, as far as she's aware, nothing's really kept secret. He's not. He's a pretty open and honest.
So it's very much like kind of shared.
Well, I mean, in the castle kitchens, the food is prepared for the soldiers. The food is prepared for the lords and the ladies. And their families. Some of that food will also get portioned off to be taken home by the people that work there, but the lion's share of it as such will be kept in the castle. But that means that people like you are going in and out of the stores all the time. You've seen the stores, you know what's in there. Also, you've seen 13 Winters. You've seen how full the stores need to be at the beginning of winter in order to have a good winter or a bad winter. So everybody's sort of kind of very aware of what is needed in order to survive. And also, I mean, part of the Feast of the Feasting Crow is about that sort of, okay, we're about to hit rough times, but we're going to go through the crucible of the fire and we're going to come out of it and we're going to be alive, and in the spring of next year we will once again be feasting and celebrating having survived another dark time. What are you doing though? You're at the top of the stairs still, having just had this sort of little pseudo scuffle with Pud. Pud's carried on walking past you that way.
Towards the brazier?
Towards the brazier.
Okay, so that's a good opportunity for me to go in the opposite direction towards that tower there. So I will do that while glancing behind me.
Make a perception check.
To see what the Pud's...
You clearly see Pud getting towards the brazier and starting to talk to the other guard and warming their hands next to the brazier. What are you going to do?
I will dash towards the area that I remember Sam pointing out that you can climb down.
Yeah, so literally it's where the tower and the wall meet, so there's sort of like the corner, and there's sort of almost a bit of striation, which is easier to climb down there.
So as soon as I take a look back and see him turn to warm his hands, I take that moment to dash towards that corner, and
okay.
And to climb easier, I will throw the leather sack with the sword in. I'll just toss that over the wall.
Okay,
I'll toss that over the wall.
You sort of glance over your shoulder. You see Pud sort of rubbing his hands and talking to somebody. You're not quite sure who, and you just go, right, now's the time. You start sprinting down the wall, and you've made it there in mere moments. As you're running, you're slinging it off. You throw the leather sack over the top, literally just hefting it, and you just kind of throw yourself over the wall, catching onto the top, and then make a climbing check.
Strength, straight up strength. She's pretty strong.
She's stronger than Reg was. Okay, yeah.
15, yeah.
You latch onto the top.
11 plus 4 equals...
So you glance over your shoulder, you start running, you're sort of there before you know it, throwing the leather sack over the edge, flinging yourself over the edge straight after, almost sort of thinking like, oh god, I'm into the air, catching onto the top, and then just
what am I doing? What am I doing?
You latch on just with your fingers, you start to slip and you sort of see another handhold, and then you wedge yourself right into the corner and sort of start climbing down. You get to the bottom relatively easily and you think, nobody's seen me.
I grab the leather.
Fortunately, there's no moat.
What have I done?
It's not a big enough castle to have.
A moat with huge spikes on the bottom, and thus ends the liberator. Every D&D session is just like these minute glimpses as to
just people dying.
Just people dying horribly. We just get interested in them and then they die.
So, and then are you just dashing?
Grab the leather sack, stick it on. I'm going to stay as close to the wall as possible because obviously I know
which way. Okay, so which way are you headed? Are you heading away from the guards then, sort of looping around behind this?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So you stick to the wall. You make sure that simply you just can't be seen from the wall up above you. You sort of stick right to it. Go around the edge of the tower that you're at the foot of. Sidle along the edge of that and sort of get around. How far around are you going?
I don't want to get anywhere near the main gate. These are
main gates over here.
But these are the.
They're just towers.
Those are the battlement. Those are the towers.
Yeah, they're just big towers. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know people are usually situated in these towers.
Yes.
So I'm going to try and avoid them. So I'm going to go all the way, and this is a tower as well, which is not situated. There isn't anyone on it. I didn't check that. I didn't check that.
Make an intelligence check.
Thank you. 11.
You know that normally there's
12.
There's at least one person on each tower. and there's normally at least one person on each wall. But it's getting cold, the people on the walls are probably spending a bit more time indoors. But that's what you know from sort of, years of hanging around in this place.
I'm gonna move to around here between these two towers.
Yep. And then make a run for it.
Make a run for it, yeah.
Okay. Make a move.
Move silently.
You make a move
I'd
silently.
like to move silently. Yeah.
This is more of a. This is more of a as you're running away over the hillside.
Okay. 6. She's not rolling well tonight, Mum.
It's all good. Yep. So you just leg it over the hills. You sort of reckless abandon kicks in. You get around. You've got one of the towers off to your left, one of the towers off to your right. You stood with your back to the wall, and you sort of she's just like, it's the right thing to do. I need firewood. I have to go and get it. And you just start running, and you just run and just keep running until you're into the edge of the forest.
Okay. So I'm at the edge of the forest. Well, I stop at the edge and go, and I look back.
And you can't even really, there's specks on the walls. But
no one's chasing me though.
No.
Okay, so that's good.
And it's still like you got out of bed at like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay,
yeah. That sort of
past daybreak.
Just past daybreak at this time of year. It's probably only 9:30 in the morning at this point.
Cool. Okay. Well, I move into a few feet into the covering of the forest, so I know that I've definitely
having sort of come from the smoky human, like a mixture of smoke, sort of horse manure, animal smells, and thick smell, and combined with the crisp wind cutting through it, sort of. And then bailed over the walls, scaled down, and then just being enveloped in sort of the crisp smell of early morning, sort of sun wet or night wet grass, as it sort of starts to dry out, and then hitting the edge of the forest where suddenly it's like piney, dense, acrid kind of earthy smells as well. The smells of things kind of composting down and underneath the canopy. The trees swaying slightly in the breeze, so there's a slightly kind of lighter, darker feel. Also, just along the edges of the forest, there are sort of brambles and thickets of sort of growing up, like brackens. So as you come into the edge of the forest, your sort of visibility is virtually, to anybody outside of the forest, becomes virtually nil.
Okay.
Where are you going to go to get firewood? What should I be looking for?
Yeah, she's here for firewood. To be honest, she's more preoccupied with this vision of this guy.
So what's she going to do?
But she's here for firewood, so I'd like to do a spot check for the firewood that isn't too damp. That would be the appropriate sort of like thickness, length, as well as like weight in order to carry, several.
Okay, you glance around and you think to yourself, what I really need is I need something that's already fallen down. It's much easier to take to pieces, and the weathering will have already sorted out the branches for me to some extent. And there's nothing obvious around here, so what are you going to do? It's just kind of dark. You're kind of looking for somewhere where you can see a brighter patch of light, you realise, so that you can find, because that would indicate that there's a small clearing of some nature, something's fallen down.
Well, she's quite young, and even though she knows there's danger, so she continues to walk deeper into the forest, not moving silently, not really. I don't think consciously aware of the danger.
As she starts moving, she starts feeling like something's watching her. But it's
she's getting this feeling like something's watching her.
Yeah, just like, I've never been on my own in the woods.
Okay. Can I do a listen check?
Mm-hmm.
Can I hear? What can I hear? 12.
Sounds like winds whispered on the wind.
Hold on. 9, 15. That was a 9, not a 6.
Sounds vaguely like the voice of the vision.
Wow.
But it sounds sort of wretched and tired, and it just sounds
Do I know which direction it's coming from?
deeper, higher. This is what the wind seems to be saying. It's almost like the sort
It's
of...
coming from everywhere.
It just seems to be sort of just carried like whispered words on the breeze. You're not sure where or how or if.
Libby goes, hello? Is anyone there?
The voice just sort of falls dead in the forest as the sort of trees seem to almost mute her voice.
I think at this point she realises considerably where she is, so I think she unwraps her short sword and then
belts it on it. It's got a belt and scabbard.
To be honest, I've just pictured her walking with it in her hand.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
But she putting the belt and scabbard on.
Yeah, she tucked it and everything, but she's drawn it and hold it, and then she puts the training sword in there.
Okay.
In this thing, so she's got to. So that's freaked her out a little bit. Spooky forest, crazy whispered voices.
Make an intelligence check.
Okie dick. 8. She's really.
You remember that if you head up towards the mountain line, where the trees peter out and the sort of the mountain proper begins, that there is much more generally sort of fallen down, ready to burn wood up there, and it'd probably take you, I don't know, 2.5 hours to get up there. So you could probably be up there by lunchtime.
Okay. I didn't bring any food with me.
No.
Okay, right, that's a thing. I did have breakfast though.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will.
We've got no reason to bring food.
Got no reason, I don't think. So after about like an hour of walking, and there's nothing's really happened. There's nothing, I think the sword's getting a bit heavy in her hand a little bit, so she sheathes the sword.
Yeah, she's getting a bit more comfortable in the woods now.
Yeah, and she starts absent-mindedly murmuring a poem that she's been working on.
Okay.
So she's like internalizing the words and mumbling the sort of like, some words to herself. So she's a bit more absent-minded about.
As she's
because nothing's really happening
to herself, it's almost like the world reflects them back to her. It's almost like she hears her own words on the wind.
Okay. She makes note of the line, "I hear my own words on the wind," and she goes, "Oh, I like that," and carries on walking. But she starts thinking about poetry and stuff like that.
After a while, the trees start to be thinner. You've been going uphill for quite some time now. It's been sort of steeper and then levelling out, steeper, becoming more rocky. The trees are thinner, and you start seeing sort of quite usable sort of wood lying about, but you'd need to take time to break it down. Sort of snap branches down so you can fit them into your sack.
Well, I do have my hatchet with me, so I will notice this, set about doing this, yes. So I remove the training sword, get the hatchet, and start sort of making some work at that. But not very silently at all. She's just kind of going, "Oh, there's the woods," and goes about.
Make a perception check.
4.
You're just mashing through stuff. You manage to get together enough firewood, at least for to contribute something of worth to the bar. And your sack is now kind of pretty much full of fire, which you've been breaking down this wood as you've been going. And you stop for a moment, and you sort of rub your brow, and you feel a hot breath behind you. Like you didn't even notice this thing. You whirl around, and there's just a big pink eye with white fur around it, virtually like right up close. It's huge as well. What are you gonna do?
Poop myself. What? What, you? What?
Oh, I get to have an evil laugh. That's awesome.
That was a very evil laugh. You very much enjoyed that evil laugh as well. It was a
What are you
completely
gonna do? What are you gonna do? Come on. There's like a big fucking pink eye with white fur around it. It's like all that you can see is this. It's like it's big.
Like a huge eye.
Well, like you're 13 and it's like this, and it's in your face like something.
I literally
right
get
down
such a
right
shock that I stumble back onto my bum and fall onto my bum while trying to draw the sword.
And fall back onto your bum. You can just sort of. It starts to look. You're like it's a big, fucking white animal. What are you doing?
I literally, I draw the sword and try to scramble back up to my feet.
You kind of hear in your mind, "What are you doing here, youngling?"
I'm so shocked that...
And it's almost like something is invading your mind. It feels like proper, like something pressing down on you.
I think I'm so shocked at this that I just kind of drop the sword out of absolute shock. You know, when you're so shocked that literally whatever you're holding just falls out.
It's sort of a very large hoof sort of scrapes of the thing, and as you're sort of taking in all of this, you can now see that it's a giant white boar with huge tusks the size of your short sword.
Whoa!
It's got pink ears. It has sort of pink socks, and it sort of scrapes to the land, and it's like, "Be gone, young creature." What do you do?
I know you!
It's like, "Be gone." Make a panic check.
What? I've never made a panic check before. What do I roll?
This is a saving throw willpower.
Willpower. Oh my fucking god.
You just turn and you bolt. And you run. Absolutely panicked.
I failed miserably.
You left your short sword behind.
Oh my god. Oh
you
my
just shat your pants and run. Make a perception check.
I can't believe it's dice gods want limited though. 11.
Okay, you bolt for you're not sure how long. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you just run, tearing through the forest, just getting through it, and you sort of end up and you're stood there and you suddenly realise you don't know where you are.
Oh my god.
But it's not behind you, it's not there, it seems to have left you behind, but you don't really know how you got there, you just know that if you go back that way, that thing's there.
Oh my god.
There is only a couple of locations that you know of in the forest from your times that you've been there with your father. One is that you know that there is a river which is roughly west of the castle, which cuts through the forest, and you know that there is a waterfall and another river east of the castle.
River east and west. Do I know if they connect? To the
no, you know that the two rivers go in different directions. Sort of like, so one river sort of veers off this way and the other river veers off that way. But that's your only two major landmarks in terms of stuff that goes through the forest or comes from within the forest. You don't know which direction you've been heading in. What are you going to do? You're lost. In fact, you didn't have your sack on. You don't even have the firewood.
I don't have the hatchet. I don't have anything. What happened with the hatchet? Because I said I was...
Well, you got the hot breath, you turned around and drew your sword, you dropped your sword and then ran away.
I've got nothing with me. I've left everything in the forest.
What are you gonna do?
Sit down and weep.
You sit down and weep.
And say, I should never have come. I should have listened to Father.